Hi, I'm Mary Kopczynski, the CEO of Regulators. Welcome to this week's Regulatory Roundup, hosted from an undisclosed location that, if you could guess, I would be very impressed if you got it right in the comments. Hint, there is a very large volcano behind me, but it's covered in fog right now. This week, there were 1,651 alerts from 247 unique U.S. regulators, and 618 had to do with coronavirus because the CDC dropped an individual alert from every single country in the world. So if you want to travel overseas, you can see which ones have a high or low coronavirus alert. Hint, almost all are high, and those with low are very likely not allowing people from the US to come in. So start up that popcorn, my friends, because it's another round of vacation in place. Speaking of vacation, I'm supposed to be on it, so let's make this short and sweet. The regulator of the week is New York State. For those of you who have a crush on Governor Cuomo, you'll be happy to know he was unanimously voted to be the chair of the National Governors Association. Also, the New York Attorney General filed a lawsuit seeking to dissolve the NRA for illegal payments to executives and other financial shenanigans. Also, the New York Department of Financial Services issued new guidance to New York health insurers to make sure that patients are not charged for personal protective equipment fees that are used by healthcare workers. And speaking of New York, I'd like to congratulate the team at Regulators back home for all their hard work and our new customer, 5 Star Bank in New York. The topic of the week is disasters. Between the pandemic, storms, and civil unrest, states are declaring disasters left and right to unlock funds to recover. We, of course, see all of these and have been on the fence about whether or not to consider them financial. If you think they should be included in U.S. financial alerts, let me know in the comments. But the one abnormal thing I saw is that Minnesota was denied disaster assistance from FEMA over civil unrest caused by the death of George Floyd, whereas Pennsylvania this week was approved by the SBA for a declaration of emergency for civil unrest. I'm not an expert in the area, but I just call what I see. For those of you following cannabis, an accountant busted earlier for his misrepresentations made related to a company called Cannavest has been allowed to practice again. The Pennsylvania Department of Health approved another group to be part of their first-in-the-nation research program for medical marijuana. And a number of people were appointed by the governor to North Carolina's Industrial Hemp Commission. For those of you following crypto, ICE is extending an incentive program to increase liquidity and volume in the BOCT Bitcoin monthly futures contracts. The California Department of Business Oversight issued a letter in response to a concern over cryptocurrency licensing. The department has not concluded whether cryptocurrencies are a form of money or whether they may trigger the application of the California Money Transmission Act. Thanks for the clarity, California. The California DBO also issued 2 interesting letters. One identifies a payment processing service as non-exempt from certain payment rules. And then secondly, they issued a letter agreeing a particular service was not a foreign currency transaction and didn't need to get licensed under the Money Transmission Act. For those of you following cyber tech and other innovative stuff, the Fed is now offering a 24/7 interbank settlement service that allows for instant payments in the United States. The Pennsylvania Insurance Department has added a new type of insurance in its state, including insurance for wire transfer fraud and medicinal cannabis cultivation insurance. The Pennsylvania Department of Education is demanding vaccinations for all students, even if they're going to be attending remotely. In our Fine Tracker this week, Interactive Brokers got nailed by the CFTC, SEC, and FINRA for failures related to AML KYC, suspicious activity reports, and other violations of the Bank Secrecy Act. And speaking of the Bank Secrecy Act, the FDIC filed this week its intent to continue collecting information associated with the Bank Secrecy Act. So if you hate it, Now's the time to share your feelings. The Fed and the OCC busted Capital One for a significant data breach back in March of 2019. Capital One is required to enhance its risk management program and related governance and controls, specifically around cybersecurity and information security. The FTC warned sellers of face masks and other personal protective equipment that if they promise to ship within a certain time, they better meet their promise or the FTC will come after them. The CFTC warned people to carefully assess precious metal pitches touting CARES Act rules. They're apparently BS, so don't buy it. The SEC busted World Acceptance Corporation, a South Carolina-based consumer loan company, for $21.7 million to resolve charges that it had violated the Foreign Corrupt Practices Act. The SEC proposed the distribution plan for the $500 million Wells Fargo settlement so that the public can review and comment on it. If you're a customer of Wells and part of that lawsuit, it might be interesting to check out. And finally, the White House is, of course, going after WeChat and TikTok. For those of you following the LIBOR transition, ARC released a SOFR starter kit, which is a set of fact sheets to inform the public about the transition away from LIBOR. For those of you following privacy, the U.S. Department of Commerce and the European Commission have initiated discussions to enhance the EU-U.S. Privacy Shield framework, since the Court of Justice of the European Union basically declared it invalid. For those of you following SROs, ICE is buying Ellie Mae, and the New York Stock Exchange proposed an amendment that would allow the use of regulatory fines for the purposes of charitable donations. That's it this week for Regulator's US Alerts. Join us every Wednesday morning on LinkedIn, and for the longer version, see us on YouTube.